Mike.
Okay, we are live streaming. Good morning, councillors, officers, members of the public and press. Welcome to this meeting of the Planning Committee. This meeting is a remote meeting being live streamed on the website and recorded. We'll do roll call to start, please, Jo, if that's okay.
Hi, good morning, everybody. We'll start the meeting by way of a roll call of all those in attendance. If I could ask members to confirm that they have a paper copy of the agenda and that they can hear and see all councillors in the meeting. I'm going to start with Councillor Brewer.
Hello, and yes to all.
Right. Councillor Brown. Councillor Brown. Right, we'll move on to the next person. Councillor Buchan.
Yes to all.
Thank you. Councillor Fleming.
Yes, yeah.
Councillor James.
Yes, I'm here and I have the papers.
Thank you. Councillor Lindridge.
Yes, I can see here and have the papers.
Councillor Loynes.
Yes, I'm here. I can see and hear, and yes, I've read the papers. Thank you.
Councillor Carl Richardson.
Yes, I'm here and I've got the papers.
Thank you. Councillor Stokel.
Yes to all.
And I've got Councillor Young here. I'll just go back to Councillor Brown.
Yes, I can hear and see, and I've got all the papers. Thank you.
Lovely. And I'll just do a check. Have we got Councillor Stephen Akers-Belcher here? No, right. I think that concludes the roll call. Just to remind members, if you're not speaking, if you could keep your microphones on mute, please. In relation to the voting process, we'll be undertaking all votes through a recorded vote. So when your name is called, you need to unmute your microphone, state your vote, and then mute again after that. I do not have any apologies for absence from anybody, so I think we can just move back to you now, Chair.
Thanks very much, Jo. Any declarations of interest, members? Councillor James.
Thank you, Chair. It's not actually a declaration of interest. I'm just concerned that the registration is that there are no apologies. And I think that would be unfair if we don't put apologies in for Stephen Akers-Belcher, who we know is struggling to actually take part in the meeting at the moment, just in case he doesn't appear.
Totally agree. Thanks, Councillor James. Any other declarations of interest? No? Okay, item 3, minutes. We're going to defer the minutes. They're not quite ready, so we're deferring the minutes to the next meeting. Item 4. And 4.1, planning applications. Item 1, I'm keen for that to go for a site visit, if I can get a seconder for that.
I'll second that, Chair.
Okay, so that's been proposed and seconded. Can we get a roll call, please, Jo, on the site visit for item 1, please?
Absolutely, Chair. Okay, so this is to ask members if they are for, against, or will abstain from the vote for a site visit for Meadowcroft Mews. I'll start with Councillor Brewer.
For.
Councillor Brown.
For.
Councillor Buchan.
For.
Councillor Fleming.
For.
Councillor James.
Well, I was trying to actually ask a question. Will this be an actual site visit or a virtual site visit?
Well, could we do the vote first and then we'll discuss that afterwards?
Yeah. Well, I want to know where I'm voting for.
Oh, okay, fair comment. Are we in the realms of being able to do actual site visits now? Not at the moment. Okay, we're not able to do actual physical site visits yet, so it will be a virtual.
Well, then my vote is against.
It's too modern to be on Google Earth.
We do have an issue though, because the development itself is too modern for a virtual site visit. So what I'll suggest then is, based on what Councillor James has said, that we will try and work out the logistics for an actual physical site visit, and that's what we'll look to do between now and the next meeting, if everybody's agreeable. So I think we probably need to start that vote again, please. I'm sorry to do that, but we'll start that vote again for an actual site visit, and it may be that we have to work on the logistics of that, but that's what we'll look to do. Are you happy with that, Councillor James, as a suggestion?
Yes, I'm happy with that, and I would vote for that.
Okay, no problem. We'll start that vote again then, please, Joe.
Okay, we'll start that vote again. So this is if whether you're for or against or abstain from a vote for an actual site visit. Councillor Brewer,
For.
Councillor Brown,
For.
Councillor Buchan,
For.
Councillor Fleming,
For.
Councillor James,
For.
Councillor Lindridge,
For.
Councillor Loynes,
For.
Councillor Carl Richardson,
For.
Councillor Stokel,
For.
and Councillor Young.
Or that's unanimous. We
Yep.
will have an actual site visit. We'll work out the logistics. If we can't work out the logistics due to the COVID regulations, we'll come back to you via email and we'll come up with suggestions, and maybe the application might have to move a bit further down the list in that respect, but we'll work something out along those lines. Okay, so we are going to start going for a site visit. Sorry, item 2 is 19 Croxton Close. Councillor Loynes.
Can I propose a site visit for this one as well, please, Chair? I think members should have a look rather than just see the photographs. They're not very good, the photographs.
Okay, is there a seconder for that? Councillor James.
I would second it if it's an actual visit, Chair.
It should be. I believe it should.
If we're already able to be out, then that might be okay to do. Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Chair. Can you hear me?
I can, loud and clear.
Yeah. Chair, I'm just wondering if it wouldn't be a reasonable suggestion to so taking this forward, because we could have this situation for quite some time. So if initially we agree a virtual site visit, and then if we don't feel we can make a decision from that, we then move to an actual site visit. Would that be a reasonable suggestion, Chair?
I think it's reasonable, apart from the fact that some of the developments are very new and won't actually be on the online system, Councillor Brown. So that's the difficulty that we've got at the moment.
In which case, we would have to do an actual.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the issue that we're addressing at the minute. Yeah, that's fine. Thanks, Councillor Brown. Yeah. Councillor Richardson.
Yes, some of these virtual meetings that we've had so far, I think in some respects have been better than the actual site visit. And some of us are trying to, sort of stay in. We're not trying to, because I'm a bit wary of it. I would support a virtual site visit on this occasion, on this particular one.
Okay. Let me just take some advice. Just 1 second. Councillor James.
Well, I think we're sort of digging ourselves a bit of a hole here, Chair, because I just wanted to comment on what Councillor Brown had said. Because if we go through that process of having a virtual site visit, it's unacceptable. We don't get the information that we want, so we then go for a site visit, an actual site visit. Then that would actually delay a planning application by about 16 to 20 weeks.
Yeah, I think the difficulty is, Councillor James, that there was a number of members on that virtual site visit, the first one that we had, and everybody was really happy with the information that was presented, and the representation digitally was really good, to the point where at one point it felt like we were coming into land on an aeroplane at one point, so you saw absolutely everything in actual and so to do with the first one, I think we do need to have a physical site visit if we can make that happen. I think the second one, as that land has been there for a while, I think we're going to have to do that virtually in the first instance, just because the information is there, and those members that were on the virtual site visit some weeks ago now did feel that was a good representation of the sites that we looked at. Councillor Lindridge.
Thanks, Chair. I'm a bit concerned here with the site visits here. That seems relatively straightforward. the photographs seem to give enough evidence. There's enough information that the officers have provided. I can't see physically looking at a floor area why we couldn't make a decision based on the information that we've got. It's different in the surrounding areas if there's, like in some aspects where there's trees, there's buildings and things. This seems quite straightforward to me. And we could just go into debate, but that's my opinion on it. I'm not up for a site visit for something that I feel as if we could make a decision on.
I think at this point it's been proposed and seconded for a site visit. I'm going to ask that is a virtual one in the first instance for that particular site, and then we'll go to the vote. So if we go to the vote, please, Joe, for that one.
Chair, I've got my hand up.
Oh,
Chair.
sorry, 2 seconds. Yeah, Councillor Lyons.
Yeah, I agree with some of the points that's been made, but I've been around myself and had a look, and I think members should be able to have a look at the actual site itself because of the parking situation. You can't tell by zooming in on a virtual one, I don't think. So I would still say that we need to do a proper site visit.
So the proposal is actually for a physical site visit, and I believe it was Councillor Stokel that seconded that. Is that correct?
No.
Who was it? Was it me?
It was Councillor James.
Councillor James who seconded for an actual site visit. Okay, well that is the motion that we'll take then for an actual site visit, and we'll go to the vote then, please, Joe.
Sorry, Chair. Sorry.
Well, you haven't got your hand up, Jim.
Sorry.
You haven't got your hand up, Jim, and Councillor James has got a hand up. So I'll take Councillor James first. It's like Paddington Station on the participant list at the moment. So we'll just we'll take a breath. Right. Okay, Councillor James, go for it.
Well, I just wanted to confirm really that it was me that seconded Brenda's proposal if
fine.
it was an actual visit.
Yeah, and that's the motion that's been put and that's been seconded.
Okay.
And I think Councillor Lindridge wants to come in. So Councillor Lindridge, unless you're happy for us to go to the vote and see where this goes.
I just need to comment on this, Chair. Thanks. I forgot what I'm going to say now. Sorry.
That's all right.
No, the way I look at it, I'm happy for the virtual site visit, actually, but it would appear to me that we're saying that there's not enough information from the photographs. I thought it would have been better if that was the case to ask the officers to provide a more comprehensive photographic evidence. As Councillor Lyons mentioned, there wasn't enough information with parking and such like in the surrounding areas. Surely that would have been the best way forward.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Lindridge. As we have a motion presented and it has been seconded for an actual site visit, we'll go to the roll call, please, Joe.
Okay, thank you very much. So this is a vote for an actual site visit to Cropston Close. So I'll start with Councillor Brewer.
For.
Councillor Brown.
For.
Councillor Buchan.
Against.
Councillor Fleming.
Against.
Councillor James.
For.
Councillor Lindridge.
Against.
Councillor Loynes.
Sorry, for.
Councillor Carl Richardson.
Against.
Councillor Stokel.
For.
And Councillor Young.
4. I think that's carried. So
Six,
if we can make that work, we will go ahead with that, and we'll keep members informed. Had somebody got their hand up? Because it's nobody's got their hand up.
I have my hand up.
Oh, right. It wasn't. It was shown in one section, but it wasn't shown in another. So technology is having its way today. Okay, thanks, Councillor Lyons.
It's playing up, isn't it? No, it was just a suggestion that those members who have vehicles maybe could make their own way. So then, if we had a minibus, those that haven't got a vehicle to drive, then they could go on the minibus, and I think there'd only be 2 or 3 then.
I think that could work, but I think we have a whole host of issues with inside the regulations, and I think I'm going to leave it to the legal team and the planning officers to try and make that work if they can. And I think that's where we'll leave it. Thanks, Councillor Lyons. Item 3 is land at Hart Reservoir.
Yes.
Somebody, can everybody put the microphones on mute, please, because we're getting lots of background noise and even an oh yes on occasion. So there we go. Okay, we are ready. Oh, sorry, Councillor Buchan, are you wanting to speak? Because I've got no hand up, but I've got a little flashing light on my screen.
No.
So no. Okay, your microphone needs to be on mute then, please, if that's all right. Has anybody got the hand up at all? Because I've got a flashing light saying that there's a hand up and then nothing. Good, that's just cleared. Great, thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Chair. This item begins on page 17 of the PowerPoint and that of your handout, members. The site relates to Hart Reservoirs located off Hart Lane. This application seeks outline planning permission with some matters reserved for residential development for up to 52 dwellings with associated access and highway works and the creation of wildlife ponds, parks, footpaths, public car park, landscaping and open space areas on land at Hart Reservoirs. The relevant planning history is set out within the committee report, and of note, this application was initially considered at the Planning Committee the 30th of November 2016, where members were minded to approve the application subject to the completion of a legal agreement, securing a range of financial contributions, ecological mitigation measures, including the provision of suitable alternative natural green space, which is known as SANGs, and long-term management obligations, as well as relevant planning conditions. Following that decision by members, the applicant sought to renegotiate the financial contributions through the submission of an economic viability assessment to support their view that all of the previously agreed contributions could not be sustained by the development in viability terms. Following extended negotiations with officers, the application was returned to Planning Committee on the 6th of February 2019 with recommendation to approve subject to a reduced level of financial contributions, but still securing ecological mitigation measures, long-term management obligations and relevant planning conditions.
It is in.
As drafting of the Section 106 legal agreement has been carried out, the applicant has sought to reduce the previously agreed SANGs obligation and omitted substantial area of land previously intended to be secured from the agreement. This resulted in further rounds of consultation and negotiation with
Stephen Akers Belcher
is now joining.
Previously intended to secure from this agreement. This resulted in further rounds of consultation and negotiation with the Council's ecologist to ensure appropriate ecological mitigation could be secured. As such, this application has been returned to Planning Committee to advise members of a change in the previously managed to approve recommendation. In terms of the proposal, this is set out within the committee report in full. Here we have the existing site before members, the two former water body reservoirs, and this is an indicative layout with the 52 dwellings in outline surrounding a water feature to the east, with the retained water feature to create a reservoir, to create a natural water body and public open space to the west of the site. In terms of the relevant, in terms of publicity, the application was advertised in the usual manner, and this is set out in the committee report. A total of 23 objections were received, including more than one from the same objector in some instances, and these are summarised within the committee report at paragraph 3.22. In terms of consultation, responses received from technical consultees, and these are detailed within the report. This includes updated comments from the Council's ecologist, who has agreed to the amended ecological mitigation measures. Turning to the main planning considerations that are identified in the report, as previously discussed, the application has been before members on two previous occasions, to which members have been minded to approve the application, subject to the completion of the Section 106 legal agreement. The applicant no longer agrees to the inclusion of a large proportion of what was previously agreed to be on-site suitable alternative natural green space being secured for that purpose within the Section 106 legal agreement. Without this, the site could not be said to be adequately addressing the ecological impact of the development, notably the potential disturbance at the coast from recreational visits by future occupants. Following consultation with the Council's ecologist, it has been agreed that the impacts of the development could instead be addressed through securing the remaining suitable alternative natural green space by a planning obligation, whilst making a financial contribution of £100 per dwelling to address the shortfall. This approach has been agreed by the applicant. On this basis, the application is deemed to be in line with local and national requirements with regard to planning obligations and contributions. The application is considered to remain acceptable in respect of all of the material planning considerations as detailed within the committee report and subject to appropriate planning conditions and planning obligations where necessary. In summary, the application is therefore considered to be acceptable and is recommended for approval, subject to the planning conditions and obligations being secured in the Section 106 legal agreement as detailed within the committee report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Dan. Any questions for the officer? No hands up. Do we have the applicant? Oh, Councillor Lyons. Is this a question for the officer, Councillor?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, it is. Hello, Dan. Could you just confirm on 3.26 who will be paying for the Ghost Island and also the new system of street lights, etc.? Is it HBC or will it be the actual applicant himself? Did you hear that? Sorry.
I did. Thanks, Councillor. The understanding is that there'll be the applicant. They'll be obliged by a number of the planning conditions within the permission, should it be granted, and obviously they would have to fund those works to facilitate the development.
Okay, it was just to confirm it. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, any more questions? No. Is the applicant here to speak today? No. Is there an objector? No. Any ward councillors want to speak on the application? No. General debate? No general debate. Last call. Okay, the recommendation for this application is for approval, so it'll be for, against or abstain approval, and we will go to the roll call, please, Joe.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll start with Councillor Stephen Akers-Belcher.
Can I just check, Chair? I came in and I'm sure that I heard all of the report, but there would have been an announcement when I joined. So can I just take some legal advice on that before I vote?
Yeah, I think you came in when the report had just started. To be fair, so I think I'm happy with you having a vote. To be fair,
I noted that, Chair, but can you hear me, Chair?
I can.
So, yeah, I noted that, Chair, but my understanding was that Councillor Akers-Belcher came in just after the officer started reporting, so I didn't think he was going to be prejudiced by the fact that he'd missed the first 5 minutes. So I was quite content with that position, but if Councillor Akers-Belcher is content that he understands the report, then I'm happy.
Okay, then I'll vote in favour then.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor James.
All right, I was going to object if you were actually disbarring Stephen from voting, but obviously that's not happening.
Always
Thanks
ready.
for that, comrade.
Okay, right, so we'll move on to Councillor Brewer.
Just to confirm, this is the recorded vote, yes?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. Yeah, that's what we're.
Against.
Councillor Brown.
For.
Councillor Buchan.
For.
Councillor Fleming.
For.
Councillor James.
For.
Councillor Lindridge.
For.
Councillor Lyons.
For.
Councillor Carl Richardson.
For.
Councillor Stokel.
For.
And Councillor Young.
For. Did we get Councillor Akers-Belcher's?
We did.
Well? That's okay. That's fine. Okay, so that application has been approved. Item 5 and 5.1, appeals at 68 Grange Road. Is this you, Dan? Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Chair. This is a bit more of a complicated appeal than most. The appeal was made up of 2 elements. It was in respect of an enforcement appeal against an enforcement notice served by the council in respect of a retrospective replacement of roof tiles and the change of use to a HMO at 68 Grange Road. The appeal against the refusal of the planning permission in respect to the change of use of the HMO and replacement roof was following a decision by committee. In respect to the enforcement appeal, the appeal was dismissed and the enforcement was upheld. The upshot of that is that the owners will have to comply with the requirement to replace the unauthorised tiles that have been installed. In respect to the related planning appeal, the appeal was allowed in part and dismissed in part. The appeal that was dismissed in part, again, related to the roof, and the part that was allowed related to the change of use to a house and multiple occupation. Therefore, it's for members to note the outcome of these decisions. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks very much. Any comments on that? Nope. 5.2, update on current complaints.
Chair, I was late getting in there. Sorry.
The hand thing doesn't seem to be working very well, Carl. So yes, Councillor Carl Richardson.
Just how long have they got to make sure that they sort the tiles out, the roof out?
Good question, Councillor. I don't know, have that information off the top of my head. I think it's normally either 3 or 4 months, but I'll find out the answer and ask Tony, the enforcement officer, to confirm that to you.
Yeah, it's 3 months. If you look at the beginning of the decision letter, the inspector set out a 3-month period.
Yeah.
Right.
3 months it is.
Yeah.
Okay. And what happens if they? Sorry. What happens if they don't?
Well, then there's a breach of the enforcement notice, and the council has to decide what we're going to do. We can enforce the enforcement notice, which could involve a prosecution if need be.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Carl Richardson. Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I just note that in previous meetings, while we're in this global situation, we have offered some leniency to people doing retrospective work. Should we not be offering the similar sort of leniency to this case as well? Thank you, Chair.
I think the difference is that a councillor had actually found out the particular status and circumstances of the particular individual on that notice. So as nobody's come forward to express a more in-depth understanding of this particular case, I think the enforcement should stand as it is, unless somebody wants to object. Councillor James.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair. I object to the suggestion that we extend any period of notice and enforcement on this application. I think we do need to do it by application on its own merits. But a house of multiple occupancy will have income earned, which is quite different to a resident who's living in their own property. So I'm sorry, but I would not extend on this case.
I agree. Councillor Brown.
Sorry, Chair, I don't think I've got my hand up.
Well, my system's being a little bit odd today, so you'll just have to continue to bear with me. Dan, did you want to come back in? Thank you.
Yeah, it's just for councillor's reference, the agent on the application acknowledged the appeal decision fairly instantly, and Morse obviously will follow that up and make sure the works are done. They've confirmed that their client's intention is to follow through the enforcement notice, which was positive in that respect.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Any further comments? No. 5.2, unless anybody's got a burning desire to go through each complaint, I'll request that people contact officers directly if they want to go through any particular complaint that's come through. I have no other business, so if somebody could propose us going into, not that I think there's much reason to, but we'll do it anyway. Can somebody propose we go into closed session, please?
I'll propose that, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Brewer. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Stokel's got his hand up.
Yeah, I'll second that, Chair.
Thank you very much. We shall go into closed session. Can we cancel the live stream? It'll just take a couple of minutes for us to do that. So if we just remain quiet until that live stream is being confirmed as cut.